to another edition of our GAGS Goals Updates, the Road to 198 series. If this is your first time stopping by, I'm Coach Gaglione. This is Gaglione Strength. I've been involved with powerlifting and strength coaching for over 13 years. This is chronicling my weight loss journey. I've been as heavy as 340 pounds. I'm down about 110 pounds or so, depending on if I have a treat meal or not. Been sub 230 for the past week or so, so I'm very happy about that. So just to recap my diet a little bit, did enjoy myself the last couple of weeks. Been just kind of in a more of a maintenance mode, but I'm starting to kind of hit my diet a little bit harder, a little bit more consistent. Just honestly, not doing anything different than I've been doing, kind of keeping carbs around my training time, having a lot of lean red meat, a lot of veggies, protein throughout the day, and just rice around my training time. So diet's been pretty on point, and I'm looking forward to kind of keep that going. I will say that one caveat to this is if anyone's watching this, my overarching goal is my weight loss first. Although I do care about my performance, I will be competing in November, and my goal is to reach the 198 class for the first time in equipment. The last time I competed in that weight class was about 2006. I was 18 years old, and I did all those competitions were done raw, which is just a belt only, as the young kids say these days, even with naked knees. So just a belt only, completely raw. But I'm excited to do my first multiply, my first equip meet in 198 class. Things have been going really smooth training-wise. My raw strength, especially my shoulder strength, is coming back. I don't have any kind of pain, knock on wood, in my shoulders. The strength is down, but especially my lower body strength has been improving a lot. One thing about being in more of a maintenance mode, I've kind of allowed myself to be in a little bit of a slight surplus in my food, and this lower body training especially has been going really well. This past week, we did some box squats. I used the Spud Inc. briefs, the training briefs. They don't really give you that much, but they allow me to squat a little bit wider, so it's more specific to my competition. So what I really like about the Spud briefs is that, again, it gives you some support without giving you too much overload, if any. Just, like I said, it's a tiny bit. You could hit depth in those and just a plate 135 or 145 on the bar, depending on if you're using a squat bar or not. So I really like that as a tool to build strength, but still allows you to train your technique without being in your squat suit. So I worked up to a triple. I did a 505 to the box spot, 505 with 80 pounds of chain. That felt really strong. I was trying to hang with my buddy Behorn, and he got the best of me on this day. Myself, the Volkswagen Beetle, and Brandon, we all were in our either suit bottoms or briefs. For once, I was actually wearing the least amount of equipment, not that I'm making any excuses, but I was only wearing the Spud briefs, whereas Brandon was wearing like a pair of multiply briefs, and I believe Nick was wearing a straps down suit, a single ply suit with the straps down, so he's wearing suit bottoms. It was a good day. Like I said, Brandon got the best of me. He ended up doing, I want to say he did 555 for a triple. I only ended up doing a single with that same weight, so I kind of tried to get to match him. I actually set the bar. I only did a single. He did a triple, so he did really well. I think he's going to eventually become an equipped lifter. I know he's got a couple of raw meets and under his belt left before he transitions, but we were trying to see if the equipment would fit him or not, and it did. And he did really well for his first day in briefs. After that, I did some raw work. I did a bunch of tempo squats with 365 on Matt Winning's belt squat. I did those in my heels. I'm still trying to build up my leg strength because we still are early in the cycle, and I plan on getting into full equipment this upcoming week. On the bench, I've been keeping my frequency pretty high. Probably after this month, I will drop the frequency. I've been pressing quite a bit. I've been doing some sort of press 3 to 4 times a week, which is actually atypical and not something I always recommend, but I'm just trying to get a little more practice benching and pressing, and also just trying to bring up my strength back up a little faster. So I might be being a little bit too aggressive, to be honest, because I haven't had the best performance. I actually missed a rep on my raw day, but I did some work with 315 with the bench freak band, which again is just sort of like the Spud brief. I really like it because it really mimics the shirt groove. I was kind of tuned into that from Bench and Benny. And I really like it. I don't know if I really like the tool for a raw lifter. I prefer the slingshot for our raw lifters, especially the reactive slingshot if you bench press under 400 pounds. If you bench over 400 pounds raw, then I think the red slingshot is probably a good tool for anything that's above 400 for a raw lifter. I do think the slingshot is still a good tool for a shirted lifter, but if I had to pick one or the other, I do really like the bench freak band. If you're an equipped lifter, it really teaches you to force the material open and the groove, and just the feel of it feels more like a chest plate of a bench shirt. So I really like that tool. There's multiple settings you could do depending on how advanced of a lifter you are. So I did some triples at 315, and then I did a top triple. Not the best lockout, but I did a top triple with 315 and 40 pounds of chain. Again, that was after squatting, so I was pretty shot after that. On my raw day, I kind of did a little bit of, this was my fault. I should have looked at my data. I was going off memory instead of going off my notes, my workout log, which we'll probably maybe do a podcast on training journals at some point. I think that's a good thing to talk about. So I thought my PR triple last cycle was 275, but it turns out 275 was a PR double. So I was going off a percentage or a number that did not exist. So my PR triple was actually 255. So I was trying to do, again, with nothing earth-shattering, but that's my PR since I've hurt my shoulder. I was trying to actually do 5 sets of 3 with my PR triple, which is not something I would recommend. So the fact I only missed 1 rep is actually not too bad. So I kind of made a little boo-boo, and that was my fault. I thought I was going off 275, so I thought 255 would be good. But so just a rule of thumb, don't try to do 5 sets of 3 with your 3 rep max. That's the moral of the story today. So I'm actually not, I'm even less mad about it. And then we did a little experiment. I used myself as a guinea pig. We did reverse band bench, close grip bench out of the monolift. That was a lot of fun. I did some sets with 245, I believe. We used the squat bar, which the thing about benching with a squat bar or a thick bar, it's a little bit more, since it's thicker, there's more surface area, a little bit less pressure on the wrists and elbows. So I did enjoy benching with that with a close grip. I really like the reverse band bench, but we don't have racks anymore, so I'm trying to figure out a way to rig it up. So we're going to try some different setups. I did it out of the monolift. The setting was a little bit high, so we're going to try to actually put the bench under the monolift. I'll report back. But we use a doubled micro mini, which I think would be good for like a weaker bencher or a raw lifter or a female lifter. We're probably going to do a doubled mini band next time and see how that works, but the doubled micro mini would work well for a lot of people. Wasn't getting that much help, but did take some pressure off my elbows and my pecs, and I was able to get a good tricep work with the reverse band bench. After that, it was very hot, so I took my shirt off, did some assistance work, just trying to work my pecs, just trying to keep my pec strength up because it's early in the training cycle. Even though it's not that pec strength is not that important for an equipped lifter, I'm also trying to make sure the shirt fits properly. I'm also trying to make sure I don't lose too much raw strength because we still have a long training cycle to go. So I did some seal rows. I hit a PR in the seal row. I've been trying to track that and build it up. I did 190 for 8. I really tried to do a reverse bench and pull my elbows to the ceiling and try and drive that bar through the bench. So the seal rows is coming along, and I feel like that added back strength is really aiding in all my lifts. So I did a bunch of fat bell benching or dumbbell benching with a chest emphasis, and then seal rows in between. And then moving on, it was a great deadlift day. I'm still not sure if my buddy Pete knows that we're in constant competition, but I'm very well aware of it. So I kicked his ass today, even though I had to wear my special underwear and my straps. But anyway, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight, as they say. So Pete worked up to 495 for a triple. He had a little bit of an off day. He drove back from Lake George. I think he was on vacation. So, but I still had to kind of show him who was boss because he's definitely going to pass my raw deadlift next meet. So I got to try to keep a little bit of a gap between us for as long as I can. We did a little switch hitting deadlift, which we'll definitely do a video on this at some point, but I like to bounce back in my warm-ups between raw and conventional just to work a little bit extra back. I think it's really good to work both stances no matter what your competition stance is, especially if you're an equipped lifter or if you're a sumo deadlifter. We tend to neglect the conventional. So that's a great way just to kind of warm up your hamstrings and low back and just get a little extra volume in with a different stance. So I did the switch hitting deadlift up to 375. I did those in the spud briefs just to kind of, again, keep my hips warm. Then I put on my real briefs. I put on my multiply, my jack briefs. I worked up to, we did small jumps, 30-pound jumps. I worked up to 495 for a pretty easy double. That felt really good. Started to kind of tear a callus a little bit, and I plan on getting in my suit next week, and I plan on, that red meat and rice, the vertical stuff is coming up a little bit, So I plan on getting in my suit next week, and I plan on holding over 600 pounds for at least my top straight weight set. So I didn't want to chance tearing up a callus, and I also wanted to kick Petey's ass even more, to be honest. So I did. So then I put the straps on. I did 525 for a double. That still felt pretty good. So I let it do 555 for my top set. And that was actually a PR this was on a stiff bar, so it's a little bit harder off the floor. So I did a stiff bar, I did a set of 5 with 555. It was kind of like I was a dog shooting razor blades on my 5th rep, but who does 4 reps, honestly? You got to get that 5th one, right? So I did 5 at 555, so there's a nice ring to it. So triple nickel, as some of the old school lifters say. So I did that first set of 5. That's a PR in a stiff bar for me. That's a PR in briefs. So I'm very happy that my strength is getting better. I know I tend to get a lot out of the strap on the deadlift suit. I'm pretty good with handling a good amount of strap, especially as I've gotten lighter. So I'm excited to see what I can pull next week. I think 600 is going to move pretty handily. Pulls are feeling good, squats feeling good. I'm going to get in my bench shirt next week. I'll do 1 or 2 more subtotal Sundays. And again, what's really cool about those subtotal Sundays is it's great practice for the meet. If you do your heavy squat and heavy bench in the same day, you get great practice to see if you can kind of handle the heavy bench. Now, again, as I get heavier in the cycle, I'm going to drop my bench frequency. But for now, again, I really want to just get more practice. I want to kind of almost make the training harder than the meet, and I want to try to see what I can bench after squatting, because I plan on squatting well over into the 800-pound range at the meet, and I know that's going to take a lot out of me, so I want to be ready for that. Overall, I'm happy. The last piece, I've been started up my running program that I got from Ashley Cast. She's a personal trainer out of Manhattan, and she's really good with like running and things like that. I believe she was I don't know if she was an all-American track athlete or something, but she was a really accomplished track athlete. So she kind of put together a cardio kind of program for me where I'm doing some interval training. If you guys are interested more in that, I can kind of give you a little bit of outline. But basically, I have a medium interval day, a low intensity cardio day, and a high intensity interval day. So I just started that this week, and I feel like my work capacity is getting better already. And I'll probably do that program for about 6 weeks, and then probably just keep it low intensity for the last half of the training cycle. So that's our update, guys. If you want to support the program, check out the links below. Buy a book. If you want to get coaching, all that helps allow us to create more content for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, stay strong, and we'll see you soon.